Hello and welcome to the EFC 86 Countdown. I'm Simon Stevens and I'm joined by the pride of Angola, the former EFC's bantamweight and featherweight champion, the GOAT, the Wolf, Demart Pena. Demart, thanks for joining us again, my friend. Great to see you. Let's just have a recap quickly of the EFC 85, because I've got to ask you about your teammate Sylvester Chipfumbu, who won the belt by wrestling it away from Faiz Jacobs, and it really was a championship that was won on the ground, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I think, obviously, we knew that Faiz was going to be very dangerous on the feet. He likes to lunge in with that right hand, and then we expected that right hand the whole time, and then he did get caught and dropped. After that, you know what, he composed himself to use his kicks well. When he started to wrestle in the third round into the fifth round, I think that was where the money was at. So he did very well to be that composed and still win the fight.
Cameron Simon claimed fight of the night against Billy Ustes, and it seemed like he almost came of age because he walked through a war in that first round, but in the second, he really turned it on. How impressed were you by Simon's performance?
Very, very impressed, you know. He's fearless, you know. You can see he's still a young guy. It doesn't really care much to get hit, comes forward, took all the shots, and then gave it even worse off. So I think he's got a really bright future. You can see that he's got that drive in him.
Another guy you've got a long historic connection with is Nerik Simões, who took a fantastic TKO win over Claude Ntumba. I mean, you used to fight with him back in the day in Luanda, didn't you? And how happy were you for Nerik?
Actually, not back in Luanda. Actually, here in here in South Africa, we went to when I was still in primary school in the same school. It was quite a big guy. So I'm surprised he's that small now. You know, if you see Nerik, how he used to look like, you know, it was like a middleweight. You know, it was very impressive. You know, he came in there, threw hands, and then got the mount, and then finished with those vicious elbows. So I'm really happy for him. I think he's progressed so much as a fighter.
Yeah, and he's a fantastic guy as well. I mean,
yeah,
what a gentleman. Some really interesting prelims and a great debut by Kaylee Niedermeyer, really representing Durban over Christine Van Marens. What do you think of her performance and what's her future?
I think she was very, very well composed. Obviously comes with a very grappling based. You know, I think she trains with Badat. I didn't know that before. When I saw her that day, I thought, okay, no, she'll probably be very good on the ground, which she did prove so. So, I mean, great future ahead. I think we need more females coming up. There was a stage that we had a lot of more females competing in the UFC, and now hopefully there's some form of a resurgence in that sense.
Yeah, it's great to see Durban being represented on the stage again, particularly with Novagen. The jiu-jitsu there at that gym with the Badat brothers is really superb. Diego Bandu, without a doubt, one of the best KOs we've seen this year with that win over Stefan Pretorius. I mean, he's just one very dangerous dude, full stop.
Yeah, it looks scary, you know. I've watched some of his amateur fights. Very, very dangerous guy. And he comes up with that panga, you know, it's very intimidating as well. And he just looks like a really scary guy. So I thought maybe the experience of Pretorius was going to be too much for him, but not at all. You know, he came out there, was very well composed, got that finish, which was unbelievable. So really, really happy for him. And he's got a bright future. Who knows, possibly one day even fight for the title.
Well, let's talk about EFC 86, because the card for EFC 85 was great, but EFC 86 is really quite outstanding as well. And Demar, I want to talk about the heavyweight fight on the main card between Triple H power Jakasa taking on the veteran Ricky Macholas. I mean, it's another #1 contender spot, because whoever wins this fight gets to face the Doctor from Durban, Tabani and Ndebele. And really, it's a fight of the strikers, the boxing of Macholas against the kickboxing of Jakasa. How do you see this one going down?
You know, I think having to look at this fight, obviously the experience I think might be the biggest thing. Obviously Ricky Macholas has been in the UFC for quite a while, and he's faced, I think, the cream of the top in the UFC heavyweight division. So I think his experience might play to an advantage in this fight, and also the grappling as well. I feel that Jakasa now has moved to BIA, obviously training there with Conrad and them. They're quite well versed, so they don't just focus on a specific thing. I'm sure he's training a lot of the ground game, but it takes a long time to learn how to fight on the ground. But I feel that Ricky, if he's struggling on the feet, he should look to take the fight to the ground and possibly get that finished on the ground.
Yeah, Ricky doesn't use his judo often because he does have some fantastic throws, but one thing I always found difficult if I was one of his opponents, he has a fantastic step in left jab, doesn't he? And he's got a fantastic power jab. I mean, how do you counter against that? Because it does sometimes leave him a bit vulnerable up against a good kickboxer like Jackass, and that could be the opportunity for Triple H to actually finish him.
Yes, I think Triple H, he definitely needs to mix it up. He can't just stand there and box with Ricky. Ricky has been boxing for a very long time. I think he needs to use his kicks, make sure head kicks, keep Ricky thinking about that kick, and then possibly look to finish him on the feet. But I feel that Jicasa, if I'm not mistaken, he needs to throw a lot of kicks, disrupt the movement of Ricky. Then he can use that feet to generate that much power with his hands, and then possibly look to finish the fight.
Whatever the result, Demar, both these guys are going to come out swinging. It's going to be a slugfest. I can't see it lasting past the first.
Yeah, definitely not. If it goes to the second, hopefully there's enough cardio for them to keep the same pace. And then maybe in the second round, the fight should finish.
Well, let's move on to the flyweight bout, and it really features one of the best signings I think we've had in the UFC for quite a while. It's Gian Souza coming out of the Pitbull brothers, and boy, this guy is one of the most highly talented flyweights coming out of Brazil. A lot of people thought he was going to sign with the UFC before he signed with us, but he comes out fast. He's got flurry of punches. He's heavy-handed, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, great off his back. But he's up against one of our greatest heroes from the Eastern Cape, Lutando Biko, who's also on the ground. He's an absolute monster. How do you see this one going down, Demar? It's a cracking fight.
Yeah, this one is a very difficult one to call. Obviously, Souza is from Brazil and is undefeated, comes to finish. Biko tends to drag the fight a little bit more, uses his wrestling, then just dominates the opponents like that. So it's going to be quite interesting to see if he'll be able to do that against Souza, who's obviously well-versed on the ground, and it's going to look to finish the fight on the feet and on the ground. So I think, I don't know, the guy being undefeated, I'll probably go for him. But Biko has been able to surprise us all, and they both look pretty much the same, small and then built. Both of them are like two little tanks. They're just gonna clash in there. So hopefully then Biko's wrestling plays a really good role, and he's training quite a lot of jits with Chris Bright that side. So he won't be a slouch on the ground. He also knows how to grapple. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see how this fight goes.
Biko keeps it very, very tidy when he's in top control, isn't he? He's not giving up any limbs. He doesn't give any submission opportunities to his opponent who's on his back. I mean, how difficult is it fighting against a guy who's such a compact wrestler like Biko?
A guy like that, definitely you should avoid the arm submissions, because the arms are, obviously their reach is not that long. So they look to get the neck, guillotines, rear naked chokes, maybe even leg locks. I would assume that the guy, Souza, will probably try and also all sorts of submissions. But I don't think he's going to look to, he won't stay on the feet too long, because I know Biko's probably going to shoot for that takedown. I think that's where he has the best advantage. Now, a lot of the Brazilians, the funny thing is they're very good on the ground, but their wrestling is not as good. So I think that's the biggest thing that Biko needs to capitalize on. Obviously, on the feet depends how hard Souza hits. But if he can take the shots, take him down, control him, maybe he can even TKO him. So it's quite interesting. I think Biko has a really good chance of beating him. But like I said, fighting an undefeated guy, heavy hands, good on the ground, he's going to have a long, long night for him.
It's great to have another Pitbull fighter coming out here from Brazil. I mean, it's almost a great matchup of camps. The Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy with Chris Bright against the Pitbull brothers. I mean, when you have someone like Patricio Pitbull in your corner, I mean, you're always going to have an advantage.
Yeah, the camp is unbelievable. I mean, the guys, they compete in Bellator, they're winning titles. So, I mean, it's definitely a solid camp where it's coming from. And obviously, Biko as well. Got a lot of UFC guys competing in his camp. So, I think this might even be fight of the night, if I can call it that.
Oh, I completely agree with you. Yeah. But then when you say it could be a fight of the night, let's move on to the interim lightweight title. Your former teammate, Elaine Commander Boy Lunga, taking on the showstopper Anisette Kanyeba, another FFM BIA clash, and this is mouthwatering. Both these guys, bad blood between them with fantastic striking. How do you see this going down? Because this, fight of the year, possibly, let alone fight of the night.
Funny thing, I mean, both of them are strikers. Obviously, one is more kick-based, which is Ilunga, and then Anisette very boxing-based. So, I mean, they fought before. Ilunga's a very difficult guy to beat. He knows how to win. He knows how to keep his distance, uses his kicks quite well, and it's very difficult to take him down. And he's also not a slouch on the ground. So it's going to be very difficult for Anisette, because Anisette needs to create close the gap on Ilunga, but Ilunga uses kicks very well, and then sometimes he also uses his hands. So obviously both of them have a massive winning streak. So I feel that this fight is a little bit, I'm a little bit on the fence on this one. It's very difficult to call who's gonna actually win this fight. I feel that Anicet needs to put pressure, needs to make sure that his wrestling is on point, needs to get takedowns on Ilunga, needs to control him on the ground, needs to up his pace on the feet as well, and then make sure that he keeps his hands up or he's going to get kicked definitely in the head and the body. So he needs to make sure that every time he gets a kick, he needs to come forward and make Ilunga pay. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night for Anicet.
I agree with you, but I think Anicet's grappling and wrestling defense has come on leaps and bounds. One of his last wins was against Pierre Bourtu, an out-and-out grappler. And he's also got a very good record against your former teammates at FFM, like Dino, like Cameron, for example. And we were talking about the 8 years in which Elaine has progressed. I can see a big evolution in Anicet as well.
I mean, Anicet I think is probably not one of the most evolved fighters, to be honest. His stand-up is evolved, his ground game. When he fought the guy from Durban, that 60-second monster, I forgot his name. He did very, very well. He was caught in the armbar.
Saxon Delafield.
Saxon Delafield, that's correct. He got caught in the armbar, managed to survive that. And then there's many submission attempts that he was able to survive. So I feel that this fight will not finish on the ground, to be honest. I don't think Ilunga will submit Anicet or Anicet will submit Ilunga. It will probably be a decision fight, honestly, and then it's going to rely a lot on the cardio, but both of them also have good cardio. So I think whoever wants to win this fight needs to be consistent from first round. Score first round, second round, third round. Hopefully then the other guy fades out in the later rounds, maybe get a TKO win. But I don't think Ilunga will shoot for a takedown. I don't think Anicet is going to necessarily try to take Ilunga down or manage to take Ilunga down. So I feel that this is going to be a stand-up war.
It's a hell of an exciting fight.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But that interim lightweight title fight is not the main event. No, there is more. It is the featherweight title between Igue Kabesa, the holder, and the challenger, again from the Pitbull brothers coming out of Brazil, Reinaldo Exon. Two incredible fighters. The grappling, the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, the all-round skill sets of both these guys, Damar. I mean, I can't call this one.
You know, I have to go definitely with my homeboy here. Igue Kabesa, I've trained with him as well for a while. He's definitely one of the most skilled MMA fighters I've ever trained with. When he started his UFC career, his boxing and his striking wasn't as good. It was more of like he would still fight. But now he's such a well-rounded fighter. I think when he started training a lot with Quasimodo Zulu Boy, his stand-up just improved so much. And obviously his wrestling is definitely one of the best, if not the best in the organization at the moment. So I feel that the advantage definitely on the wrestling side is from Igue Kabesa. And also in the striking, Igue is not necessarily the guy who's going to look to strike all the time, but we've seen that he's got knockout power as well. He's finished his last opponent and finished him. Both his last opponents finished them with striking. So, I mean, what more can I say about this guy? Obviously, Exon has had one fight. He's finished Madiba. Quite impressive way, but he hasn't had more fights. He hasn't been tested as much. And then I think the biggest disadvantage for Igue Kabesa is his actual BJJ skill set. He's been submitted before. That's his only loss. So I feel that the jiu-jitsu side, that's where he has to really be cautious, because Exon, I'm sure, is going to be much better on the ground than Igue. But try and take Igue down. That's the question. Will he be able to take Igue down? Will he be able to get those positions where he can get the submission? I don't think so. I think Exon will be thrown around. Igue, all has to do just keep his distance, and then maybe even finish him on the feet. So I rate Igue as one of the best fighters, definitely out of Africa. I think that, but he needs to work a lot more. I feel that he's not that much of a hard worker, because he could have been definitely a top fighter in the world. So he's got the skill set, but I don't think he has that daily grind to push through. So that might be his downfall, because Exon has been training a lot.
So you're saying that Igue Kabesa is the kind of fighter who just relies on natural talent, because that's what I believe. I mean, every time you put him against a knockout artist like Carlos Saput, for example, he knocks him out within 10 seconds. I think the submission loss you're talking about was Danny Henry.
Danny Henry, absolutely.
But then Igue then takes on his teammate Callum Murray, who again is the ground specialist, and just grinds him out for 5 rounds. He's always had that natural ability to step up. He has that big match temperament, regardless of whether he's in a camp or not.
However skilled you are, however good you are, there's going to come a time where someone is almost as skilled as you, or just maybe a little bit more than you, but the work will always pay off. You know, we've seen guys that are not as skilled, but they've been able to become champions, be able to defend their belt. So skill alone, yes, is good, which he has, but I feel that he needs to work a lot harder, because I think he only works hard when he's competing, and then otherwise he probably just coasts a little bit here and there. And he's the kind of guy that won't wrestle for so long, goes into a wrestling competition and destroys guys, and you know, is #1. But at the end of the day, you know, you think you're a badass. There's always going to be another badass in the corner that's working harder than you, pushing harder than you, sacrificing more than you. So I feel that, you know, Igue has been able to get away with just skill alone and a little bit of work. Maybe this time he's found his match, but let's see.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about the match. I mean, Igue was a national wrestling champ when he was 19, but the badass you're talking about is coming out of the Pitbull Brothers camp from Brazil, and he is not gun shy. I mean, Exxon likes to come in, and he's got great kickboxing technique, and his jiu-jitsu is a thing of beauty, a very, very dangerous fighter.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's the thing, like I'm saying, Exxon is definitely the guy that's going to put Igue, you know, he's going to make sure that Igue is going to be on the watch on that night. You know, I feel that he's going to put pressure on Igue, he's going to use his boxing, kickboxing, keep the distance. I feel that in terms of the wrestling aspect, we've seen a lot of the Brazilian guys that are training from Brazil, they're not that good wrestlers. A lot of them, they don't know how to defend the takedown as well, but obviously on the ground they are good. But if you fight a good wrestler, once he's on top of you, they won't give you that much space in order for you to work on your submissions. So I feel that if he's able to keep the fight on the feet and then dictate where the fight happens, I feel that he might have a big advantage in winning the belt. But if not, if Igue can easily take him down, control him on the ground, just ride him, make sure that he doesn't put himself in compromising positions, I feel that it's going to be a long night for Exxon, and maybe he's going to get TKO'd into the third, fourth round.
Well, if it is a long night and it has that ground game that you're foreseeing, you're having a Brazilian coming out here to the high altitude of Johannesburg, and even though he's Congolese, Igue kabesa has lived his whole life here in Johannesburg, how much of an issue would be a grappling 5-round fight for a Brazilian coming up to 1,000 feet?
I don't know what kind of guy Exxon is, if he's always just training when he competes only. But the Brazilians necessarily, they're not that hard workers as such, you know. They're not pushing that much in terms of the sport. You know, I feel that, I don't know this guy from a bar of soap. I don't know how much work he's been putting in, but now when I look at his Instagram, I mean, the guy is really ready for this fight. But it's about consistency. Every single day, putting in the work, and it adds up. So, I mean, the altitude definitely affects all of us. So how much will it affect him in a grappling fight? Definitely, it will affect him a lot. And then Igue's got an amazing cardio. I don't think I've seen him tired in any fight. I feel that the longer the fight goes, the more advantage Igue would have. So he just needs to obviously watch in the first 2 rounds, depending how dangerous obviously Exxon is on the feet. But he's also a dangerous guy on the feet, so you know, this is the third option for fight of the night. So
yeah, there's too many.
Exactly, just too many. I mean, this card is so exciting. I mean, this is an absolute cracker of a main event, and I wouldn't put my money on this fight. It's very risky bet.
It's not completely. I won't put any money on it. Also, Exxon's coming out with his teammate and former #1 contender, Didinho Jose de Rocha. But de Rocha very dangerous off his back, and we saw the knockout of Cameron Pritchard. He's got very nasty hand speed as well.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say about the Rocha? I mean, the guy is come out. It was unfortunately his first fight for the one of the best, if not the best, guys to come out of EFC, Dricus du Plessis. Obviously, got finished after that fight. I mean, it was told everyone that was not his best, and he showed his best. So I think the Rocha now has really got a chip on his shoulder, having finished cage-wise, Conrad Sebi. You know, it's been very impressive on the feet and on the ground, which also finished Pupanga Treso. So, I mean, the guy is on a mission, and he says he wants to become champion, so we can't deny him any longer if he keeps winning.
Well, it's plenty of Brazilian interest in the EFC 86, so let's go over to Brazil and chat and see what's going on in the Pitbull Brothers camp.
I think the biggest thing for us is that we're bringing 3 of the teammates out. What is that craziness of training with guys who've got it a lot on the line as well, that are going to be competing with you and flying halfway around the world to do so?
It feels great. These are 2 of my best friends who are helping me improve, and I'm helping them. It just motivates me further, makes me very happy, and I think it takes me to another level to go in there and share the card with them, with everything that we have on the line. I think it's going to be great for all of us.
You believe that you should be the next EFC champion and can beat Igue. Why? What do you have that he doesn't possess?
Igue is a great fighter. He's very well-rounded, but skill-wise, I'm on a higher level. He has the better wrestling, but I've improved my wrestling a lot. I have a better jiu-jitsu. I believe I have better striking, and I hit harder. The biggest difference of all, I think that I want this much more than he does. The impression that I have is that he's playing fighting, and I'm betting my life in fighting. When that cage door closes, I know that I want to be the champion much more than him. And there is nothing that I want more than be the EFC champion right now.
Besides the fact that Igue, that he wanted more, what is going to be the kink in Igue's armor that Ronaldo is going to exploit? What is the main focus?
The main thing here is going to be my boxing. I've improved my boxing a lot these last couple of years. He's got good unorthodox striking, but he's not very technical. And I think my versatility is going to be key here. I'm much more technical, and I believe I have a little bit more tools in the striking department than him. I'm predicting that I can knock him out, but if he takes me down, I believe I'm going to submit him. I believe in my jiu-jitsu, so I believe in myself in every area. If we're standing, I knock him out. If we're on the ground, I submit him. Those are the only two ways that I see this fight going.
You win the belt. You're standing there. What do you say to your fans? What do you say to, who do you do this for?
First of all, when I get the belt, I'm going to thank God. He's the one that makes all this possible. The main reason, my two daughters, I do everything for them. This belt is mostly for them. I have to thank my team, the fans, my friends, everyone who's been supporting me to get here. I love South Africa for the opportunity that I'm getting there, how they have treated me when I was there before. That's why this belt is so important, because I felt at home.
Any last words for Igue?
Praying like there is no tomorrow, because I'm ready to knock you out. I'm ready to submit you. I'm ready to take this belt from you. This belt is mine, and it's coming back with me to Brazil.
Well, let's take a look at the World Sports Betting odds for EFC 86. And Demar, with this, I'm going to have to put you on the spot and ask you for your pick in terms of Sousa against Lutando Biko. Another tough call, but I have to ask you for your pick on that.
Whew, this is a very difficult one to predict. You know what? I'll go with Biko. Just because.
Just because Biko. My heart says Biko, my head says Sousa.
My heart says Biko as well, but I feel that he's fighting a really dangerous guy.
But never bet with your heart, though, right, Demar?
Exactly. So, but I think Biko might be able to pull it off if he goes back to his base. You know, keeps to his wrestling, does what he does best. You know, obviously finding a guy that is that aggressive is probably gonna gas into the second round or so. So if he's very well composed, uses wrestling, I'm sure he can take the fight.
Elena Lunga against Anicet Kanyeba. I know you're going to feel somewhat conflicted. You've both trained and fought and lived with both these guys. But again, I'm going to have to put you on the spot. Who's going to win?
Wow, this is a difficult one because
so hard.
Anicet, you know, a guy that we do work together, and then Ilunga, I've trained with him. I like both guys. But no emotions aside, they fought before. Ilunga won. Ilunga's a very difficult guy to beat. Anicet needs to do a lot more than what he does to be able to win. So if I were to put my money, I'll put my money on Ilunga. But having said that, I feel that Anicet can also take this fight. So since it's 5 rounds, a longer fight, I feel that he's got a better chance because it's a longer fight. So if I were to put my money, put it in Ilunga, but it can go definitely either way, depending how Anicet brings the fight, because Ilunga is more of a counter fighter. Ilunga won't bring the fight. So if they play the counter game, definitely Ilunga. But if it's more aggressive game, looking for things, I think Anicet might be able to put it off.
Oof. You're not taking a pick there.
No, this is I'm like...
You're really on the fence. But you're on the fence in a very, very stylish way, my friend. So that's very cool. Let's go to the featherweight title again. Reinaldo Exen against Igue Kabesa. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm picking Igue.
Definitely Igue Kabesa. One of the most skilled guys out there. I feel that his fight IQ is a lot better than Exen's. He's been there for long, guys, beat better guys. And his wrestling is just one of the best. I feel that he just needs to put a lot more work in, but the work that he's putting in and the skill level he's at is enough to beat Exen any day.
A lot of good betting opportunities with the spot betting and the accumulator bets with World Sports Betting at EFC 86. I mean, it's a cracking opportunity to have a punt, isn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, if you're a betting guy, you know, and then the fights, there's a few fights that are very risky fights, but I mean, it can go either way, so, you know, you can make some good money.
And then another tough one to call, Demar. Matunga Jacasta, Triple H Bauer taking on Ricky the Apocalypse Masholis at heavyweight. Anything can happen at this weight class.
That's the thing, like heavyweights, you know, one punch is the fight is finished. But having to look at experience-wise, guys fought for the title, has been there I mean, fought guys like Potts and the like. So definitely Ricky Michaud is, put my money up on Ricky. Jacasa obviously has a chance to win it. They all have the power to finish the fight. But experience-wise, more well-rounded on the ground, I feel that Ricky might be able to take this one.
I agree with you, but again, Matunga Jacasa has got a great right hand, and it's a good underdog opportunity for a flutter.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you can make good money on that if he takes it.
Well, that wraps the EFC 86 countdown, and I have to thank the greatest of all time in the bantamweight division of African mixed martial arts, Demart Penner, for joining me. Demart, thank you so much, brother. It's been fun.
Thank you. You're kind.
So don't forget to check all the social media pages for the build-up to 86. We'll see you on the 12th of June here at the EFC Performance Institute in Johannesburg, South Africa, for EFC 86.